Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dhivenya and I'm a final year mechanical engineering student in France. So throughout the course of my 6 years studying engineering in France, I've had the opportunity to do some internships. The first one being with the L'Oreal group for a duration of 6 months. So as it was my first internship experience ever, my learning curve was extremely exponential, and so in this video I'm going to be sharing the 5 lessons that I learned from my first internship experience ever. Let's get into the video. Lesson number 1 is to track your work. Now the reason why you should do this is to protect yourself in your working environment, because generally what happens is people give you work but they do not really realize the amount of workload that goes into that particular task. So the way I track my work is by using an Excel spreadsheet where I track every single day the time I clock in, clock out, my to-do for that day, and the task that I accomplished. Depending on the task at hand, I also sometimes jot down the time spent to finish that task. My Excel sheet also serves as a to-do list and a way that I keep track of my work, because basically, the first thing that I do every morning when I open my laptop is to open this Excel spreadsheet and see what I have to do for that day and the deadlines that I have for that week. This can be handy to you, especially when people wonder why a certain task is taking longer than expected. This way, you have proof on what you've been doing and how long you've been taking to accomplish that task. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, don't hesitate to check out this video that I made about my first internship experience with the L'Oreal group. Lesson number 2 is to respect off days. Now in France, people take their off days very seriously. So it goes without saying that you do not call and you do not expect a reply, even if it's urgent, from the person if they're having an off day, because doing otherwise would be taken very badly and you do not want that. Now the same thing applies to you. When you are on your off day, people will also show you the same respect by not expecting a reply, and so you're expected to not work. So even if you think you're going the extra mile and doing something good by replying an urgent email or by answering a question that only takes a few seconds but would make a whole lot of difference. And I'm speaking from first-hand experience because I once got told off for sending a to-do list to my team the first morning of my day off, just because I thought that it would help to give them a recap of what should be done when I'm there. So the lesson that I took away from this is, no matter what, you do not communicate when you are off, and you should do everything that you can to send important emails or your to-do list before you go off. Lesson number 3 is communication is key. Now, I think that it is extremely important to be as transparent as possible with your manager. If you're having some difficulties in a project, don't hesitate to explain why and what exactly you need to be able to get through that task. The earlier you bring it up and the earlier you talk about it, the faster you can move on, and at least your manager will be able to help you to get through that problem. The same applies if you think that you are having too much of work at that moment. If you find yourself in this situation, don't hesitate to talk to your manager about it and ask him or her for help on how you could better prioritize your missions to know what you should focus on and what tasks can wait. I believe that it is a lot better to focus on 5 different missions and to do it well and give your 101% than to do 10-15 different missions and end up doing it poorly, because that's not going to help your reputation as well. The same goes for communicating the positive points. Don't hesitate to share the small wins, share what you've been learning so far, how the projects or missions have been beneficial for you. So I think by being transparent and by communicating as efficiently as possible with your manager, it shows that you are constantly self-actualizing and that you are constantly learning and thinking of how you can improve throughout your internship. Lesson number 4 is to learn how to say no. This is something that I had to learn the hard way, and I think it's also due to my cultural background. Growing up in Asia, it is extremely hard to say no when you are asked to do things or when you do not understand something. For some reason, we put this pressure on ourselves that saying no shows that you do not understand how to do something and that is bad, or that you can't keep up with the workload and that is equally as bad. So even if I don't really understand something, or if I think that my workload is crazy, I just bite my tongue and I go through it and I try to make it work at the end of the day. However, sometimes I can't make it work at the end of the day, because obviously sometimes I do have too much of work or I don't understand how to do something. So learn how to say no when you don't understand what is being told to you or when you can't take on more work. In France, it is appreciated and it is preferred that you say no and that you stay firm on your boundaries. So if you don't understand what's going on, talk about it, get it out, and move on. Lesson number 5 is to keep your professional and personal life separated. Now, this is not really a lesson that I learned, but it is something that I strongly believe in, because at the end of the day, your colleagues, especially your team, are still your colleagues. You can have great, beautiful relationships with them and you can be friends with them. But at the end of the day, these are still people that you are working with. And so personally, I believe that it implies that you need to have a certain posture and a certain way to carry yourself in these situations. Your reputation is extremely important, and this is something that could break very easily and is extremely hard to rebuild once it is broken. So you want to protect your reputation at all costs. And so naturally, you do not want to give anyone a reason to doubt your credibility and your professionalism by allowing them to draw parallels to your personal life and your professional life. At the end of the day, we are all humans, and so you just want to minimize the risks of that happening. So we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope that you have managed to find this helpful. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as that would mean the world to me. And let me know if you have any questions. I will try my best to answer every single one of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Ciao!